your mind.
Good evening and welcome to Open Your Mind Radio. You have myself, Alan James.
And you have myself, Stephen George. A very good evening.
Good evening. It's Sunday the 4th of August 2013. And we have Steve back in the chair. Hooray! Did you enjoy a holiday?
Well, it wasn't really so much a holiday. It was a change of scenery. That was it. As I've explained anyway to Alan, it was my in-laws were going away for a couple of days, and they generously invited us along, and we kind of threw it to the family, and they all kind of wanted to go. It was just down. It was actually in Ireland, in a place called County Mayo, Mayo, and we just kind of went down. It was a change of scenery. The weather, it rained. I'd say 90% of the time we were there, so. A lot of it was kind of, from indoors looking out, and then occasionally when there was a dry spell, we jumped into the car and we went, done a little bit of sightseeing, all that free stuff,
Yeah,
because
exactly,
free is good.
Free is good.
But, it was nice. It was nice to have a breakaway, just kind of, kick back, switch off, unwind, relax, and recharge the batteries. It was quite nice.
I did that. That happened to me. I went down to Kinsale for a holiday with the family, and we came home halfway through because it just kept constantly raining. So, welcome.
Irish weather, what?
Welcome to Ireland. Okay, on the show tonight we're going to have Bill Maloney and Brian Harvey. You probably know Brian if you are a certain age. I would have to say Brian was the lead singer, ex-singer in a band called E17. And, they had a lot of hits in the 90s there, good songs there. I'm more of an 80s man myself, but there's one or two songs I do like, I have to say, that E17 did sing, so quite good. But before we get Bill and Brian on, we'll go over to the communication channels and catch up in the week.
Yes, absolutely. Right, Mary, give us a tinkle there. How can people communicate with us this fine evening?
The communication channels are email info@oymireland.com, by phone 046 927 1212, and you can also contact us direct through the OYM chat room.
Thanks very much, Mary. Yeah, as Mary said, if you want to give us a call on the landline, it's 046 927 1212. If you're calling in from outside of the Republic of Ireland, it's 00353 in front of that. Alan.
Okay, now Steve, you were away last week. There's a few things going on, so I know you're probably not aware of these. But last Sunday I announced the eviction down in Navan of a lady, and on the Monday it was actually cancelled because they had sorted it out. I was going to be on the Wednesday.
I did actually, yeah, I did hear about that one.
Oh, you heard about that? Okay, yeah. So, but obviously it was called off because they sorted it out. So thanks to everyone who was going to be there. Apparently, based on what I've seen on Facebook and everything else, there's going to be hundreds. Yeah. And I did speak to Ben Gilroy, and Ben suggested that the new sheriff should wear makeup because she's going to be on camera, which I thought was very good.
Yeah, I actually heard something about that, and I think Ben is on record as saying that the sheriff, she holds down three different positions. She's a sheriff, she's a judge, or serves on a bench or whatever she does, and she's also a county registrar as well. So she has three hats.
And she has a brother-in-law, I think, is a Ahern.
Yes, her brother-in-law will be fairly well in with the big boys.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Okay, so there you go. So so thanks to everybody who was planning to go down anyway, but they get us sorted in the end. Now, the other thing here that we have just on the list is the birth of a police state. UK police to be granted sweeping new powers. I don't know whether people in the UK have come across this, but basically, the UK government is about to pass legislation which will make any behaviour perceived to potentially cause nuisance or annoyance a criminal offence. The Antisocial Behaviour, Crime and Policing Bill also grants local authorities, police and even private security firms sweeping powers to bar citizens from assembling lawfully in public spaces. Those who refuse orders under the new rules will face arrest, fines and even prison time.
So, 1984, it's definitely coming our way.
It's on your doorstep. It really is on your doorstep.
Sure, isn't that? I heard something there. I think it was last week, and about Barack Obama, some new law or bill or whatever he's going to pass, that they're going to be able to look at, say, you or your child, your children, and based on certain criteria and certain, they'll obviously have a database with all these wonderful pieces of information. They'll be able to look at a child this is allegedly true. I've no reason to believe otherwise. I haven't heard that it's not. But they'll be able to look at an individual, and based on certain criteria, they will know whether you are going to offend or break a rule or a law at some stage in the future, so they can arrest you now based on something that you may, well, according to their information, that you will do something, of that nature at a future date.
But that's the movie with Colin Farrell, isn't it? It wasn't a Minority Report, I think was the name of the movie, I think. And it was, they could actually, the whole idea of the movie is that they knew you were going to make, it was called pre-crime. And they could actually know that you're going to do a crime before you did it.
Yeah.
And they'd arrest you.
Yeah.
Which is...
So that's brilliant. Well, in that case, then we should be able to, let's say, go up to the Dáil or Parliament buildings or whatever, and go in and drag some politicians or some bankers out and hang them based on a crime that they may, do something nasty at some future date, like get the country into the state that, like what it's in today.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's just getting
worse. We
worse.
wouldn't get away with that crap.
I know, it's just getting worse. As time goes in, it's just getting worse and worse and worse. What can you do? How's your week anyway, besides being on your jollies?
Well, as I said to you there yesterday, when I went away for the first day or two, I was only gone for 5 days, and for the first day or two I had the phone on, and my daughter brought a laptop, so I was on the laptop for a little bit of time. And then I had this moment, my moment of clarity, where I just decided, switch off the phone, put it away, don't go near the laptop, because the whole idea was to just kind of recharge the batteries, and I just felt I need to just detach completely from everything and everyone, and just be at one with the universe and nature.
And
oh my God,
did it work out?
No, well, it did. It did insofar as that I was able to just, relax, and I wasn't thinking. I was kind of away from reality as such until I seen the likes of, say, the chemtrails. A lot of chemtrails down there as well. We woke up one morning. I think it was in between showers. There was a bit of a break in the cloud, and the chemtrails are there visible. So that was still going on. So that was kind of a jolt back, if you like, to reality. And then one of the evenings, I got talking to this guy. Just happened to, he was talking to my father-in-law, so I just kind of sat down and joined in the conversation. He was talking about bits and pieces, and I kept my mouth shut, because a lot of it was kind of, the usual BS that people come out with when they've had a couple of drinks. And then he said something about the Gardaí, the would be the equivalent, say, of the British police, the Gardaí, or the Irish version of those. And he started talking about, speeding, a couple of miles an hour over, or you might be a little bit over the limit for drink driving, or whatever it may be. He was just saying that it's not about being fair, and it's not about protecting society anymore. He said it's in his opinion, this guy would say he's about 60. In his opinion, years and years and years ago, in the olden days, as he said, the local bobby or the local guard was kind of your friend, and if you were bold, you were threatened with this guy, and so everyone kind of behaved. But he said now it's all about revenue, and all they want to do is issue fines and collect money. And when he started kind of talking like that, I switched on straight away, and I started kind of having a bit of a banter back and forward with him. And I won't say we put the world to rights, but he was fairly well clued in, and he was saying, how come you know about this and I know about this, and why don't other people realise? And I said to him, well, because they're awake, or they're not awake, they're still kind of asleep. I said, but there is an awakening going on, and I touched base on the likes of the fluoride and stuff like that, and how people are getting kept in their slumber, and the power of television. Now it was amazing. He was open-minded to a point, but when I started talking about the fluoridation of the water, I lost him completely.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a gradual thing. He just looked at me, and that was it. He was gone. I could see by the reaction on his face, he didn't believe a word of that at all. So
right.
I didn't try and convince him. I just backed off with the case of, well, don't believe me, prove me wrong. But yeah, other than that, yeah, it was I was kind of away from. I was out of the loop, but I did manage to hear about the eviction now of Ben Gilroy, and I'm glad that was kind of stopped. I don't think, from what I heard, correct me if I'm wrong, it's stopped. It's not just gone away temporarily. It's not going to come back.
It's stopped.
It's been resolved. The
as
issue
far as I know,
has been resolved. Yeah,
it's been stopped. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, same old. Yourself?
Same old. Well, I mean, I let everybody know on the registered users what happened. But for people who aren't registered users and are listening to the podcast, basically, on Thursday night, I got scammed out of €600, which I actually don't have. It was kind of scraped together and scrimped together over a period of time to try and afford just a little runaround car, which was badly needed. I'm not going to go into the long and short of it because it'll take too long to describe, but basically hindsight is a great thing, but a scam is deliberately designed. Now I'm not slow on the take-up, but a scam is deliberately designed to get you to drop your card where you wouldn't drop your card. That's why it's a scam. And this guy was very rehearsed. And basically, it's just got to do with. I won't mention the website, but you can you can get a deal, and you can get it done. So you get an idea what website I'm talking about there. You might get a few deals, and it will be done.
So deals will be done on this website.
Deals will be done on this website, exactly, Steve. So basically, the scam is that they advertise a motor. They put the bait out, which is the motor, and they make it so it's attractable, but not overly too much. Okay, and I went out and this was all the whole scam started from the phone call. Okay, and basically I went out with my missus and we basically had a look at the car, and the plan of attack was that he was there, he had his kids there, and everything was all above board and hunky dory at his house and the whole lot. And he just said, "Oh, listen, the paperwork is at my mother's. She's elderly, she's frail, and all that kind." He was
selling it on behalf of his mother.
He was selling on behalf of his mother, and I noticed that none of the paperwork was actually in the car window. Which kind of that triggered I was aware of that. But he was all the information that you had, and basically he said, "Look, we'll drive down to my mother's house, and the paperwork's there, and she has all the folders of all the services that she's done on the car, and and can we sort this out now? Because if you drive the car and you have an accident, that means that it's obviously down to my mother." So as I say, it was a complete scam from the phone call, from the get-go, and so needless to say, the car was not NCT. There wasn't didn't have a logbook, and basically what happened was I followed him in his car, apparently to his mother's, and cut long story short, he drove away at speed, and I completely lost him because I was only in a small car, and that's the scam. So they'll tell you that the paperwork is not with the car; it's down with a relative, and you follow him, and then he just drives off. I did speak to the Gardaí about this. Obviously, went and reported to the Gardaí, and they said that it's a civil matter. And the reason why they said it was a civil matter was because I had done the deal with him, and because I had done the deal with him, then it was an agreement between the two of us. Now, I would argue the point on that because of a Blackstars dictionary regarding a contract, and the fact that it's a verbal or written agreement between two or more people that is fully transparent. And in this case, it wasn't fully transparent because he didn't produce the paperwork. And secondly, obviously, common law, as far as I remember, the oath in common law is harm, loss, or injury. So I'm at a loss. So anyway, to cut a long story short, this person was turned out to be a regular person on the Gardaí records, and not a nice person at all. It was kind of, I'm not going to pursue it because, for the simple reason is, it's not worth it. The good news is that we did get the car scrapped, and we did get a few quid for the car. I mean, not much. It was only a few quid.
I heard you sold it to one of your neighbours for $2,000.
$2,000. Yeah, no, it's actually on the ad. It's on that website again. I'm advertising it again.
Can we just say, and I think this is important, that people realise that when you explained this to me yesterday, Alan explained it to me yesterday, and then he went over it again piece by piece and broke it down. And when he got to the end of it, after he'd spoken to the Gardaí as well, it all became clear that people, when they're ringing up about these cars, sounds too good to be true. the guy is making sure that you have the money with you because he's, I've too many tire kickers and I want this deal done, I want it done, and people are going, oh well, look, yeah, I'll have the money with me. If I like the car, I'll take it away. And when they turn up to buy the car, some of the people, Alan was lucky that he was scammed out of money because from what he was telling me yesterday, from what the guards told him, that some people had turned up with the money to buy the car, and it would have been a more expensive car as well, say a couple of grand, and a couple of lads on a motorbike would just arrive at the determined meeting point, pull out a shotgun and demand the money because they knew that they were carrying the money. So Alan was lucky. Yeah, and it could have been a knife, or it could have been, and I heard the case about violence as well. 3 guys jumped on the guy and hospitalised him basically. So it's only money. I know it's money I don't have, and it's really put me in a bit of a situation at the moment, and I don't know how we're going to sort it out, but at least it's only money and there's nobody hurt, so that's the main thing. So look, everyone, it's a lesson to be learned. If you're going to do any deals, whether it's a car or anything, especially cars, I mean, society is getting to the stage now that people are getting desperate, and the crooks are out there and they're doing what they're doing, and they're taking advantage of people who are in that situation. So it doesn't matter who it was, because it's going to be Tom, Dick or Harry, take your pick, right? So just be on your guard when you're buying stuff, and if it's too good to be true, then be careful. I would recommend, especially if you're buying a car, buy it off a friend, go to a reputable garage, or go to somebody you know. Avoid any websites that are selling cars, because this is how they do it, and loads of people have been scammed out of cars and money about this. I mean, the number of stories I've talked to people about this is incredible. So just please, whatever country you're in, be on your guard, because this is a scam that's doing the rounds and it's well rehearsed. So there you go. Lesson learned. You're never too old to learn a lesson. There you go. Lesson learned. And the other thing that I just want to mention is I've been talking to John Irwin on and off, who's a super soldier, who's been on our show a couple of times. And John had just highlighted the fact that he said, have you noticed that there's a lot of ambassadors in the embassies? The embassies are closing down around the Middle East, and the ambassadors are coming home. And I had a quick talk with him about it, and I said, well, I've heard about it, what's the story? And he said, well, that's the precursor to war. He said, because the same happened in World War II, where all the ambassadors were flown home. They want all the business that's done in these countries is going to be stopped. The stock markets and stuff like that is all going to be affected because of what's happening. So I think there's something around the corner that's brewing, and I'd ask everybody to keep your eye on the ball and just keep an eye on what's going on, because that could be the precursor to something coming down the line. Again, John is a super soldier. He's a military strategist, so he knows what he's talking about, and he said that he's not seen it but heard it before. So just for everyone to be watch out and be on your guard, as well, and be cautious over that. Okay, what we're going to do now is we have Brian on standby. So what we need to do is get Bill in, and hopefully if the technology is with us and it works right, we'll be able to get Bill on the phone. But we need to make a quick, take a quick musical break, and we'll get Bill in shortly in a minute. Okay, so we'll be back after this. Okay, yeah, that was a very quick eye in the sky. Now we have Bill on the line. The quality of the line is probably not the best. Right, okay, wow, we're peaking there. We're running a little bit hot there on the audio.
Right, okay, let's bring down the audio a little bit, because there is an imbalance between the phone line, and for some reason it's something that we have to sort out. We don't really use the phone line very often, but Bill, can you hear us okay?
Yeah, that's fine. That's a lot better now, Alan.
Okay, we're just going to be hang on a minute. We're just going to be tweaking it as we go. Okay, hang on. Okay, can you hear us?
I can hear you, but you're very muffled.
Okay. Yeah. Let's see what we can do.
I have to get the technical department to...
I can hear you now.
Yeah, can you hear us now, yeah?
Yeah, it's perfect now.
Oh, good, man.
What have you done?
Okay.
We just threw a little bit of hamster feed into the cage, and he's back on the hamster wheel.
We've just been playing with our knobs. Okay, Bill. Thanks a lot for coming on, and Brian, thanks a lot for being on the show.
A pleasure, mate. It's an absolute pleasure.
Much appreciated. Now, obviously, you guys have been very, very busy doing what you're doing. I've seen the videos that Bill sent over, and very interesting. And again, you're with Ben Fellows talking about stuff. But Bill, I'll start off with yourself. Do you want to give us a heads up on what you want to tell our listeners what you've been doing, and what you've been doing with Ben and Brian and all that?
Yeah, well, first of all, I'll just tell the listeners that they can watch all the films that we've made for free, and they just got to go to PieandMeshFilms.com, www.PieandMeshFilms.com. Please go there, and it may enlighten you, and at least it will open you up to the horrors that have gone on and are still going on.
Okay, no problem at all. Well, them videos that we've seen that you sent over, do you want to talk about the two of them anyway? Talk about the first one with Ben Fellows.
Well, what it was, Ben Fellows came to me quite a while ago. I heard whispers through the alternative media sources, about him. But basically, he was fostered as a child, and he became a child actor. And there were different points where he was abused by different people, very predominant people. And one of them, the most predominant at the moment, is Kenneth Clarke. So we've done a lot of investigation into it, and I've done an interview with Ben Fellows. But before I actually turned the camera on, I spent 6.5 hours talking to him about different cases that I was involved in, and that he was interested in, that he had brought to light. And within that conversation, before I put him on camera, I said to him, "Will you take a lie detector test?" And straight away, without hesitating, he said yes. Can you still hear me, Alan?
Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
Oh, good. So he agreed. The way he put his story across to me, I mean, I do have a lot of experience in it, I don't know everything, but, when you're talking to someone and the story just flows like it does with Ben, and there's no hesitation in anything, and he's very passionate, and he's not acting, though he was a child actor. The abuse is coming out, so we put the lie detector into the affray. And I had already, before I went to do the interview with Ben, I had done an interview with someone else. So I had in my target Max Clifford. And then it came out in the Ben Fellows interview that Max Clifford sent him and other children to Peter Stringfellow's, where they were given cocaine, alcohol, and then procured for sex parties, etc. And they were sent there from places like the Sylvia Young School, where a lot of the child actors in all the big soaps got from, so it was very major.
Yeah.
But then when Ben told me about that, I decided that I would forget what I was going to ask him before Max Clifford and go with Ben's evidence. So I went with it, and the results are, as I say on the website, and people can see what happened when I met Max Clifford outside Westminster Court. And it took nearly 8 minutes for him to get in and out, because I was questioning him, and all the national media were there, but they dubbed it, so nobody knew what happened.
Do you think Max Clifford do you think Max Clifford was he just a source of getting kids, or was he actively involved?
I think Max Clifford was actively involved. I think Max Clifford is a paedophile. I think he's a predatory paedophile. And I also think that he was part of the control of a very big paedophile ring that wasn't just within the entertainment industry.
Right, okay. I was just thinking, Bill, if you were on your mobile phone...
Well, if I can put it like, Alan, the film that's been up about him, it's been up for a long time now. It's been up for about 6 weeks. we're Primash Films. We're well known to the institutions. They check us. They check our work. I work with the police as an outreach worker.
Yeah.
They come to me with cases. They ask my opinions.
Okay.
No one's taken the film down. I have completely prejudiced Max Clifford's case with what I've done outside Westminster Court. No one's come, no one's taken the YouTube, no one's taken the video down because it is true.
Okay.
The same as when I started talking about Jimmy Savile well over a year ago on the Edge Media show.
Okay. Well, Bill,
we have our sources. That's what the alternative media, we had to have our sources. Personally, I'd rather look at myself as an alternative filmmaker.
Okay. Well, Bill, listen. You know you're on a mobile phone at the moment. Can you put that phone on speaker, because we are concerned that a mobile phone is going to radiate your brain.
Right. I've got it on speaker, actually.
Oh dear. Okay, that's excellent. We want to make sure that your health is okay. We don't want you frying your brain. You're a good man. We don't want to lose you.
No. I'm with that. I always use a speaker as much as I can. But anyway, so if I can just continue from there. So I went and got Max Clifford. The film went up. The alternative media, they was all wanting to talk to me. I spoke to many of them, but they wouldn't run the story. So now, from there, it is Ben Fellows to do his walk from Plymouth of 300 miles. He took 4 weeks to do it. He was making a lot of contacts and talking to people on the way. That culminated with him going to Westminster, I think it was 4 days ago, 3 or 4 days ago. And the film is up of that as well, so people can see that. And that is when, that was the first time that Brian Harvey was shown. So Brian came into the affray, but when you talk to Brian, I'd rather Brian tell you how he and I met.
Yeah, okay, well, I was just going to say that, Bill. I'm going to bring Brian in now. Brian, can you tell us how you got to know Bill and take it from there?
Well, basically, can you hear me all right, yeah?
Yeah, lovely, yeah.
Brilliant. Basically, I was indoors. It was late one night. I don't know if it was 3, 4 o'clock in the morning, something like that. And I've seen Bill's films. I saw Sun, Sea and Satan, and I could see a lot of myself in Bill when I watched him. And the outspokenness, the cut to the chase, you know, like he had the passion for it, and you could see that this was a bloke that was telling the truth clearly, because you would not put yourself up in that position if not. Clearly telling the truth and reaching out to people for them to see what is going on in the world. And once I saw that, I've kept an eye on him. I watched interviews with him with David Icke, who I've also been following. I've got my differences with his views, but as far as the child abuse, the ritual abuse, the institutionalised paedophilia in the care homes, I also know people that have been brought up in care and have told me similar stories. Also, a lot of fans have come forward since we made that video and said, look, Brian, you know, you're doing a good thing. I was abused. And it's shocking. This is such a massive thing. I didn't realise quite how big it was. I mean, I got told some stories the other day, and it is shocking. But going back to your original question, I watched Bill on one of his films breaking down, and he was in complete bits. And I watched that video about 4 o'clock in the morning and saw nothing but myself. I saw pain in the guy's face. I saw, I don't care anymore. I don't care how this looks. I don't care what I'm saying. People need to see it. And I tell you what, that video opened my eyes. It was the because I felt that emotion of, I mean, I haven't been abused, but I have in some ways through the media and through things that have happened to me that people are well aware of. And I could just relate to it so much. Just in bits, I don't know where to go, I don't know what to do. I've told you how I feel, no one's listening. And and the thing is another thing actually happened off the back of that, was because it's been known that there's been a feud between myself and Tony Mortimer through the years. And basically, I mean, it was more a media-generated dispute. There wasn't really a problem between me and him. I like Tony. I think Tony's a good geezer, and without Tony, I would not have got the opportunity to do and see the things that I've seen in my life, and I wouldn't change one of them, not even my car accident, because even something like that has brought me to the understanding of where I'm at now. And I've hit a point in my life where I've just got to do the right thing. I've just got to do the right thing. I don't care what people are going to say. They're going to say, oh, you know, he's trying to go in through another avenue. He's trying to use the underground media now to become massive. No, I'm not. And you know, only time will prove that through you seeing what I'm saying. But when I saw Bill's video after that, it left me in a mood of compassion. And then, before I know it, I'm looking, because I do have a little sit down and have a look at what E17 are doing. I hold my hands up to that. Anyone would. It'd be unbelievable for me to say, no, I never look at what they do. Of course I do. I want to see what's going on. And up until I saw Bill's video, I was hoping that everything that they did fell on its arse, and that it would crumble, and that it wouldn't work, and that people would see them for nasty people. And after watching Bill's video, it just hit me, and something went, you know what? I argue with all of my friends, and I don't have to, like, I don't not talk to them for 10 years on the trot, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. E17, we went through a lot of things together, we've done a lot of things, and for me, I wouldn't change any of it. I think everything has played its purpose, and I need to make it clear that I don't hate E17. Every single guy in that band is a good guy. Everyone's got their own set of problems, and I don't blame any of them for anything.
Okay.
And through looking at, just get to the point.
Okay.
I know I've gone off a bit. But I saw that, and it actually made me, straight away, probably half an hour in it, send a message to Tony Mortimer and go, mate, you look happy with what you're doing, with your new song and stuff. Obviously, it's not what the music that I want to make, but it takes a lot to come back from the pressure of being in the media and going through all of that. And what I'm basically trying to say is that his video made me see something in myself where I just went, you know what, life's too short, I don't care, I'm going to send a message to Tony. And before I know it, I'd done it, you know, and he got that message. I sat there afterwards and thought, what have you done, what have you done? But something went to me, no, it's the right thing to do. And since then, I've just wanted to do the right thing, and I'm a doer, not a talker. And I sent Bill a message and said, listen, mate, I'll stick my chin out for you. I'll stick my chin out for you. I don't care what people think. I don't care what they say. I don't care. It's going to take someone to say something and mean it and be honest. And I saw that in Bill, and I contacted him, and he's come back and he's involved me. And I'm honoured to be involved in what he's doing, because it's a very, very serious issue. And I want to do what I can to help, basically.
Okay, well that's brilliant, Brian. I mean, that's great. Did you say that you were abused?
No, I wasn't abused. I haven't been abused physically.
And you know, we both make a pact tonight, Alan, that neither of us are going to swear.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
well, fair play. I mean, the last time you came on, Bill, and we said to you about swearing, and fair play, you were a top man, and there wasn't one swear word there.
Well, what it is, it's with Brian, because Brian swears a lot. He swears to, when I first started doing this work, and he has a compassion for it, you can hear that. And I spoke to him a lot, and we've worked together with, you know, when the people go online and they watch the Ben Fellows and Brian Harvey and Bill Maloney at Westminster, you can see what a fiery little guy he is. Now, you know, you can't help the people that have suffered if you haven't suffered yourself, truly, because you have to feel some kind of pain in your life. Now, the Brian Harvey is the first one that has come forward to help us.
Well,
out of the entertainment world.
Yeah.
Out of the entertainment world.
I think it's brilliant that Brian has stepped up to the mark. And I seen the video, and I did say, myself and Brian had a chat before we went live earlier today, and I said to Brian, he handled himself well with the police, so he did a great job there. But We do have a few questions coming in, guys. So I'm going to go over to Steve because I have a funny feeling we're going to have a lot of questions coming in. So, Steve, over to you and just go through them there.
Okay, well, we've a lot of comments. We've a couple of questions, but a lot of comments, and they're all saying, Brian, top man, top guy.
Thank you. Like, I'm blown away by the support because I'm used to people putting the boot in all the time. So honestly, this feels really, really strange for me. I can't tell you, but like, thanks to everyone that's supporting the cause. This ain't about me. This is about the information first and foremost, and that's what it's going to stay about.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, it's early days yet. We might put the boot in later on, so
That's right. just for old time's sake.
Yeah. But Darren Cox says hello. And Darren Cox says, tell Bill and Brian that Darren Cox and Brenda Mumsy are tuned in. That will probably mean something to you.
I love Brenda.
Okay.
Love you, Brenda.
Yeah, we love them both. We love Darren Cox and we love Brenda. They're both long-time supporters and activists in their own right. Both people. Hello.
Excellent. Hello. Okay. And Crown Copyright, one of our long-time listeners of the show. Question for Brian. Brian, how did you first get into the whole alternative view? He says he knows you just watched, that you initially watched one of Bill's videos, but how did you come about finding that initial video?
This begun, it was about... I remember being very, very, very depressed. I mean, probably at one of my worst points. And one day I was cleaning out a cupboard and I had some American dollars in there. And I looked at the dollar and for a minute I just saw the pyramid and asked myself, what's that got to do with America? And I'll tell you what, it started there. I've been through all the normal channels, all of the... every video that you can watch on absolutely everything from quantum physics to fractional reserve banking systems to the oil and banking and drug cartels and stuff you mentioned earlier about fluoridating the water, how it's not the natural fluoride that water produces, but it's a toxic waste that's being put in now. Chemtrails, everything. I've been through the whole thing and I think that I've watched it enough now to connect the dots, see through the propaganda, see the things that are being covered up. To me, it's so blatant. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of disinformation out there, but institutional child abuse and the rape and murder of a child is the worst crime that you could ever commit. It is the worst crime that you could ever commit. Ian Huntley. Right, what do you think everyone's saying across the world when I say that name? Ian Huntley. What do you want to do with him? I know what I want to do with him. I know what I want to do with him. And there's some serious issues that need to be dealt with. Everyone's caught up with being seen to be saying the right thing in front of the masses, and that's got to stop. People got to start telling the truth. They got to start making the right decisions. And stop bullshitting everyone, because I think everyone feels it in society. Things are getting harder. Everything's going up. It is becoming a police state. It is becoming 1984 Orwellian society. It is. You are being watched through through your computer, through your smartphones. It's a reality. But unfortunately, when you tell people that have no knowledge of any of this information, you look like a nutcase. So you need to be selective in the people that are putting the information out, because the other tool that they use is disinformation against you. If they discredit you, it takes away your credibility, and then no one's going to believe you. So you tend to believe in the official version of events rather than what you know to be true. People fall for it en masse.
Ryan, just a quick one. I mean, from what you're saying there, you see...
Can I just jump in there for a minute, Alan?
You just did.
Yeah. No, go ahead, Bill. Yeah,
right,
go ahead.
I'll tell you what. Listen, I said to Brian, what we're going to do is we're going to record some of our telephone conversations that we have, because they go on for quite a long time, Brian and I, so we'll send you some of them. You can stick them up. But I would just like to stick to the Pedophiles thing for a minute, because it concerns the lie detector test, which is the next stage. Now, he's made accusations against some very predominant people. You've only got to Google Bedfellows, or like I say, go into Pyramid Films, and you'll see interviews, etc. with him. So he's agreed to the lie detector test. Now, that was for the people, because at Primash Films, especially us, because we are mavericks, and it's very rare that we take someone else in. So we must think very highly of Brian. And from the way he's speaking, you can see he's no fool, and he's also got the heart behind it, and I believe the courage. So let's, if I can just stick with them fellows, we get them to take the lie detector test, because we're not going to the government. It's not admissible in court. But Ofcom, who are the police of broadcasting networks, national broadcasting networks, newspapers, etc., they allow the Jeremy Kyle show to shred families to pieces on the evidence of a lie detector test. And so does the government of this country, America. That show is all over the world. So the people believe it, so we decided, get them, take the lie detector test, and then we'll go to the people. And let them put the pressure on the government. So that is what's important. Now, the strange thing is, 2 days ago, a bill went through Parliament. I think there's an article on it in the Daily Mail. The 2nd of July, Marisa telling me it went in. That paedophiles that are let out on parole or licence every 2 weeks will now have to take a lie detector test. So, the people that Ben Fellows has made all these accusations against, and he takes a lie detector test and passes it, will go right around the world. That is what we want. The lie detector test can be a weapon for us victims and survivors, especially the little kids that are getting it now as well. It's got to stop. And the lie detector test, if that comes into play, then that is it. And then, you know, the day will come, I believe, that lie detector test will be a household item, just like our mobile phones are, that we thought would never happen. People couldn't get their heads around it. So you will say, right, who nicked the fiver off the thing? Lie detector, or it'll be an app on a phone. Can you see that? Can you envisage that, Alan?
Yeah, definitely. But the thing is, we have to be very careful with it, because when you start bringing in certain things like that, they could be misused as well, Bill.
Yes, I know that as well. So, you know, but I believe it will come in some kind of form.
Yeah, I mean...
So, everyone, if you put it this way, everyone that Ben Fellows has made the accusations against, if he passes when he passes the lie detector test on them, then what are those people going to say? What are the people of this country and other countries going to say? That this politician, someone like Kenneth Clarke, and also David Cameron, I don't know if you know the story. One of the stories is that Ben Fellows, when he was 18, he was working with the Cook Report. Now, they were looking at cash for questions. So they went to see a member of Parliament called Greer. And they took Ben Fellows with them because they wired him up. Now, he was 18 at the time, and he was told, if anyone asks you how old you are, say you're 15. So he's gone into the office with Greer and the other guy. The other guy's put a camera down that was in a briefcase. This is for the Cook Report. And Kenneth Clarke was in there. Anyway, Kenneth Clarke offered Ben Fellows a drink. Now, he knew that he thought he was only 15. So then he touched his penis. He put his hand on his penis over his trousers for about 10-15 seconds. Anyway, after this meeting, this covertly filmed meeting for the Cook Report, they went back to the hotel, and the production team, they looked at the footage, and they saw Ben Fellows in this tape being abused by Kenneth Clarke. Of course, they were all shocked. Anyway, as time moved on, that tape wound up with when there was a takeover with Colton TV and another company. And David Cameron, he was head of communications. Now, that tape went via the Cook Report to David Cameron and was put into a vault, and there was a fire, and the tape was destroyed. That is just one accusation. Then he's got accusations against Joanna Lumley, you know, who? Tom Cruise, violently sexually assaulting a boy. Andrew Lloyd Webber assaulted Ben Fellows. He grabbed him and put his tongue down his throat.
Wow. Well, Bill, Bill, I just want to say, obviously, Bill, for obvious reasons, the opinion of the guests their opinions are not the opinion of OYM or myself or Steve, just for legal reasons, Bill. You'll understand that.
Yeah, exactly. And I understand why you have to say that as well. So
Exactly, just to be on the safe side.
It's been alleged.
Yeah, it's been alleged, but obviously we can't.
Well, Ben Fellows he's also got tapes up on YouTube where he's filmed the police in his house, and they're saying that they've interviewed everyone denying Ben's allegations who are concerned with the Cook report, but the two people they never interviewed were the two people that were in that room, and that was Kenneth, Clarke and Greer. And 2 weeks after I got in touch with Ben Fellows, what was the guy's name who started the Cook report? Tim Tate sent a message. He's the guy who originally started the Cook report with Roger Cook, and he's now working for another film company with Roger Cook. Sent my wife, Maria, producer of Pie and Mash Films, an email, very curt email, saying that you say that Bill Maloney's got awards for his films. Could you let us know where they are? And I said to Maria, that sounds dodgy. Let's look him up. And then we found out he's in another film company now with Roger Cook, because they know that we, Pie and Mash Films, and now Brian Harvey are on the tapes. And we're in conjunction with Ben Fellows, and that is what's really important, that David Cameron had those tapes hidden, and nothing is being done at the moment to rectify paedophilia. And we're also advocating a petition that we put up to give an amnesty for whistleblowing paedophiles. Now, you've got a paedophile ring that has got 200 in it, and you're going to have to look after one for the rest of his life and get all the others. Well, let's go for it. And then, it still has to be kept under close watch. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm not saying like give him an easy life. I'm saying just make sure that the paedophile's safe. Give him an amnesty. Give them somewhere to live.
Away anyway,
but they still have to report to their police station every day.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, well listen, Bill, we've
got to do something, because as victims and survivors, Alan, we just do not have, and I shout for hundreds of thousands of them.
Okay, well listen.
And that is what I'm shouting on about, and that's what we've got to do. We demand our weapons. We'll take a lie detector test to start with, and then the amnesty for the whistleblowing paedophiles. Let's clean them up, and then let's stop it.
Okay, well, but Bill, we have a few questions for you that have come in, so Steve is going to throw them over to you.
All right, nothing mathematical.
Okay.
Right, the first one, Bill, it's two questions from Crown Copyright. He's wondering, what do you reckon the conclusion of the Max Clifford case will be, and when is the lie detector test going to happen?
The lie detector test is going to happen within the next 2 weeks. There's a very strange story around the lie detector test. Apparently there's only 8 people that are fully qualified in this country to do it. And that's all I'm saying on that. And what was the other question?
The result of the Max Clifford case, I wonder what do you reckon the outcome will be?
Well, I believe that the Max Clifford case is going to blow right up. I believe that Simon Cowell was fully aware of a paedophile ring that was going on, but they don't consider a girl or a boy under the age of consent as paedophilia. It's all right if they're 14, 15, 16. Well, it doesn't say that, I'm afraid. Sorry, that's not what the law is.
Okay, Brian, do you want to answer?
And I also believe that Peter Stringfellow is going to be pulled into it. I believe that there are predominant politicians that are being pulled into this, especially in the Elm Guest House inquiry. I know for a fact that Leon Britton used to go to that house. I've got some footage going up shortly with a guy called Chris Fay, and he is a witness. He's 64 years of age. He was a ex-councillor of Greenwich Council, and he was friends with Carol Kazir, who owned the guest house, and he was a witness to seeing the pictures of Leon Britton sitting in an armchair naked. All he had on was a maid's pinny and a young boy no older than 12 years of age. I'm also looking at a case of a guy called David Hamilton Grant, who I believe was one of the most predominant child pornographic and snuff movie filmmaker who used to make regular trips to Jersey. That's how I see Kincora, something like Jersey, where famous and powerful people could go and have what they will and do what they want. And now what has happened is today's victims have become tomorrow's witnesses. That's why a lot of these kids were killed. And people poo-poo the horrors of what really went on. Children were killed, they were buried, they were burnt, they were disposed of. Because they were tomorrow's witnesses.
I think
and
that
for Christ's sake, I would just like people to get their head around that.
I think for the people who actually survived the abuse, they're lucky, because they could have had a worse situation there with their life could have been taken. But Steve, you have a couple of more questions there for Bill.
Yeah, we do. Just noticed. I don't know. I haven't clicked on the link here, but there's a link.
Has anyone asked the question? Are you sane, Bill?
Hey, do you know what? I like to make a comment on the Max Clifford thing there.
Yeah, go ahead.
What, from my perspective, what I see going on, I don't know if everyone else sees it like this, but to me, it looks like that they are going to let a few go in order to make it look like if there's corruption on the inside that they'll expose it. Because personally, that's what I think has just happened with the News of the World. If we close down a major paper, obviously there's a lot of scandal behind that. I've got a claim in, but I'm thinking of pulling out of it, because I think there's something bigger going down here, and 5 or 10 grand, what difference does it make? You know what I mean? And I'm someone that needs money, but I'm prepared to just listen, these people are scum, I don't want nothing from you, I want to see you go to prison, do you understand? But getting back to the Max Clifford thing, also, you could mention Stewart Hall. He got, originally, was it 15 months? And then his sentence was extended to 30 months. Now, how many counts was that? How many counts?
I don't know how many counts that he was charged with.
I think it's somewhere between 11 and
16 counts. I'm not 100%.
Yeah, so it's around that figure. It's not a final figure, but it's around that. But one thing that did stick out to me, that one of the victims was down at the age of 9. Now you're talking about 30 months. Now that is nothing. That is not a sentence. That is not a deterrent not to do it again. That's easy time for a crime like that I think is the worst crime on the planet. End of story. End of story. And the fact that we're starting to see a few people come out. Jimmy Savile didn't get exposed until he was dead, right? I watched the Louis Theroux thing on there. I think there was a lot of giveaways. I mean, just look the guy in the eyes. It's in the eyes. It was in the eyes straight away. Jimmy Savile doesn't get exposed until he's dead. He was someone that was knighted. I've seen pictures of him with the Pope. How he got next to him, God knows. I've heard stories that he was making decisions in cabinet meetings in Israel. I can show you 2 pictures of Jimmy Savile and Prince Charles 30 years apart, both wearing kilts in Scotland somewhere, laughing, with Jimmy Savile looking at Prince Charles like he's making a gesture, sort of making him laugh. So it's clear to me that
Jimmy Savile, Brian, was Prince Charles's mentor. He was one of his mentors.
Bill, I can believe it, mate. I can believe it now. But you notice it didn't come out until he was dead. Yeah, and there was, how many inquiries was there on that guy? So it's all right to kind of do it when they're dead, because then nothing can be done to the person because they're protected. Max Clifford and all of these other people that are coming out, I think they're changing tactics, and some people have got to be seen to be getting it, so you look like you can trust the establishment. When blatantly, if Ben Fellows passes a lie detector test, that's it. It's all up in the air. Because as Bill rightly says, Ofcom do let the Jeremy Cole show rip families apart every single day, make them and break them.
Yeah. The way I see it, Alan, is from now on, really, it's me and myself and Brian working together. We are there now through our skill and experiences from the entertainment and film world, is to highlight it as much as we can, and just to get people to start investigating it. you know, and to do your own investigations. You know, it's like in the old days, if we wanted to know something about, say, Henry VIII, you've got to go and find a book. What book? A book that's written by someone who's working for the establishment, etc. Now we've got Google. Everyone's to become investigators. That's it. It's simple. You soon find out what to do.
That's another one. That's another one to watch out for as well. I think another thing that will be coming our way is, on the basis of, let's say a load of these people do get exposed, they go to prison, not for long enough as far as I'm concerned, but, you know, we're obviously going to lose a few and see a few celebrities go to prison.
Well, I think they're going to get down the lower echelons of the group. You know, they're going to have sacrificial lambs which they'll throw out there to take people off the scent.
Yeah, I'd agree.
Of course, look at Hope de Lagrange. I think there's been a couple of, like, really sort of, one was a cleaner, and then another guy, you know, that have been arrested or anything, you know, it's crazy. It's like, you know, when I was looking at King Cora, you know, the four main guys, they got between 4 and 5 years. It's absolutely ridiculous. I had a brother that was locked up in Guildford, in a children's home, called Grafham Grange, in the cellar, bound with his hands behind his back and his feet, with a young girl bound the same when he was 9 years of age. It was all over the newspapers. You know, bearing in mind I'm 58 now, so I'm going back a long time. It was all over the newspapers, and the perpetrator's got a £5 fine and moved to another children's home.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible.
You know what's going on, don't you? You know. I'll tell you what. I'll tell you exactly what's going on. Do you remember in the the early 90s? When you started getting exposés on celebrities for taking cocaine, and when you first heard about it, you was like, mate, that's cocaine, you're banging trouble, you're proper in trouble. And then slowly through the 90s and up until now, it's become normalised. Paedophilia is being normalised in front of your eyes. That is the reason behind exposing paedophiles when they're dead. You can't get to them, it's too late, it's already happened. Let's keep talking, we can talk about this one now, because he's not here. So we can go on and on and on and on. Let 10 years slip past, and keep getting stories like this of people getting 15 months and all this crap, and that's what you got to look forward to.
Okay.
Paedophilia is being normalised.
If I can jump in there, it's the same as the Coronation Street guys. You know, the guys from Coronation Street. Why are they on bail? Why is Max Clifford on bail? One of the judge said one of the parts of Max Clifford's bail that he's got to keep is that he can't be in the company of anyone below the age of 18 unless he's got a responsible adult with him. Even the judge is saying to him.
That's incredible.
You're talking about predatory paedophiles, you know what I mean, Alan? Sorry we think we're taking over the show, me and Brian, but it really is that important to us.
Well, no, that's I understand. I understand, Bill. You and Brian are very passionate over and it is. I mean, it's something that's going on that needs to be reported.
And they try and close down the internet and say that we need to do it because of these paedophilic images going about and that. They'll close down the internet and block it off so that we can't get the information backwards and forwards to each other. End of.
Well, you actually heard Bill and Brian. I don't know whether you heard about Luke Radowski. Have you heard what happened to him?
Yeah, something happened to him.
No, who is he? Yeah,
basically what happened was Luke was sent an email to an old email address, and it was apparently it was photos from inverted commas, an insider, photos of who attended the Blinderberg meeting. But lucky enough, what happened, Luke couldn't open the email on his computer, so he went to a friend's computer, and Yahoo email have a preview option, and it turned out that the images that were sent over were not from Blinderberg, but it was child pornography. They were setting them up.
But to me, that is just so obvious. Here we got someone. I've seen the guy before. He's from New York or America or somewhere.
That's right,
He's got a baseball cap and that. Yeah, I've seen him. Well, listen, it goes back to what I said earlier. If you're going to discredit someone, you know, the very things that he's a part of exposing, if they then turn around and put that and tar him with that same brush, it's going to create doubt in him. It's going to, you know, in their world, it damages your credibility, and no one will listen to you.
Yeah.
But in my world, that is an obvious move.
Yeah.
That is an obvious move. Come on, man, we live in 2013.
Something I could just throw in as well. Why did Simon Cowell bail out Jonathan King? Jonathan King introduced Simon Cowell to Max Clifford. Simon Cowell bailed out Jonathan King. They fell out. Jonathan King had to take the hit. That was part of the paedophile ring. I was saying that in front of the national media. It's in our film. When Simon Cowell, all we've heard from Simon Cowell was about 3 months ago, I want to have a little baby girl. Now it's all over the papers that he's been having an affair. And he's got a fiancée, making it look like he's a ladies' man. Is he? Is he really?
Well, we know that Simon Cowell has paid allegedly has paid money to the papers to keep certain news items out of the papers. This is what we heard. This is our belief. Allegedly what we heard. We don't know whether we can substantiate that, but this is what's being said in the rumours. So, they pay money to the newspapers to keep certain, news articles out of the news.
Yeah. Well, there you go. Simon Cowell's part of it. Why did he bail out Jonathan King? And in a newspaper report about 2 years ago, he apologised. He said, "I didn't know that he was guilty. If I thought he was guilty, I wouldn't have bailed him out." So he knew he was innocent, did he? Well, he was wrong, weren't he? Big mistake.
Definitely. Do you have any more questions there for Bill or Brian, Steve?
Can you hear me? Because I just cut out.
Brian, I'm warming up.
No, you're fine, Brian. Your audio's fine.
Oh, that was really strange. I'm talking away there about Luke Rudowski, and then all of a sudden, it's cut off.
No, well, you're okay here. We still have you online, so you're fine.
I've just rung you back, though. That's why.
Have you?
Yeah. Did you not know? I just went off. I was talking about Luke, and then it just went bloop and ended.
Oh, what? No, we didn't know.
No.
That's what Bill says to every time I'm talking to him. That Luke's reception is okay.
Brian are on the death list now with Ben Fellows.
Sorry, go ahead, Bill. Say that again.
I said, it's MI5. I said, Brian, myself, and Ben Fellows are on the death list.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a joke.
Okay, no problem. You're on the Skype list. Knock it off. Hang on, Steve has a couple of questions for you, Bill, there. Hang on.
Go on, Steve.
Right, okay. Okay, we'll try and get through this. Bertie just sent us in some information there a couple of minutes ago on our chat facility. He said, using the same tactics used by gay rights activists, paedophiles have begun to seek similar status, arguing that their desire for children is a sexual orientation no different than heterosexual or homosexual. Can you believe that?
Yeah, well, the thing is, we're talking about young minds. We're not talking about kids that know anything. You don't really get to know yourself. I mean, I look at most people as kids till they get to at least 30, depending on the life they've had. But, I can believe it because that is what they're like. They are attacking from every single angle. I've been hearing it's an illness. Well, I know it's an incurable illness. And Brian and I, we've been having some really quite intense conversations about the death penalty and what we should do with people with paedophiles, but then we think that would take up a very long show. So, we are intending to do a recording of us talking about that with a couple of other people, and maybe we can send that to you, Alan. You can pick some of that up.
Definitely.
Because, what are we going to do with them? What are we going to do with them?
Let me find an example.
I've got quite a few ideas. I don't know how to get them and how to frighten them, but he's going to send them underground. But he's got to get the numbers down because society is being affected, like I say. The children are the future keepers of this planet.
Okay.
And when
can I ask you a question?
When you're sexually abused, it kills. It's as bad as murder. I think it's worse even than murder. When you kill a baby, it's like, why do people get such small sentences when they kill a baby to what they do when they kill an adult? I mean, that adult has at least had a life, but the baby,
why do you get longer for committing
a whole life.
Okay, Bill, hang on.
Crazy, I tell it.
Hang on, Bill. Brian just wants to jump in there. Go ahead, Brian.
I just want to ask people a question, right? If it come down to a scenario like this, and I don't even like putting this through my mind, but you're going to have to try and find a solution. Let's take, for example, there's a 65, 70-year-old man, right? Now, he's been caught. He hasn't had sex with a child, right? He's touched the child through the clothes and French kissed a kid that is 7. What do we do with him? What do we do with him? That's a real question. What do we do with him? I want to know. I want to know what we do with someone like that.
Well, right. It's like, you know what it is? It's like you ask some people that and they will say, kill him.
Yeah, I think the majority of people
it's like,
would say that.
In my conversations about the death penalty, Alan, with Brian, I said to him, the street guy, the kid that was brought up in the institutions, in me, Bill, he would say, kill him.
Yeah.
But the spiritual side of me that has developed over many, many years says no.
Yeah, I know what he's saying.
I couldn't be responsible or vote for the taking of a life.
Yeah.
Me personally, I couldn't. I would not do that because for my spirit, I would never take a life. And then I do understand because I used to feel the aggression and the hate towards what we would do to them because I go back over my own family's experience, my personal experience, and of course I feel that if anyone's entitled to do it, someone like me is, and many, many millions more. And I'm not talking about sort of thousands or tens of thousands of people in this country because the police told me that in England, one of the detectives I work for said in the statistics, in England 30% of the population has been abused sexually. When they were children. 30%. That's crazy.
That's an awful lot of people, really, if you look at that.
I know. It's not all institutional abuse, but I just deal with institutional abuse because that's what I know. I know the institutions. I know the makeup of a lot of the carers, and I understood. That's what kept me as safe as it did. It didn't save me altogether, but it kept me pretty safe, But when I used to be in the dormitories, with the old iron beds, and sometimes there were 14 of us in the dormitory, or sometimes there were over 20 of us, and I would see someone come in the night, and then just hear a boy being woken up very quietly and taken out, all the time. And the nuns, the beatings, the regular beatings that I took from nuns at Mill Hill in North London, an orphanage. I wasn't an orphan.
Well, look at that for itself, and no one beating you. Where's the love? Supposed to be love in the church, and yet we had it over here with the washrooms over here, the Magdalene.
Yeah, but I know exactly where you're going, Alan. Right?
Yeah.
I go into the church. I go into the Catholic Church. It's called St Saviour's. It's in Lewisham. I go in there at least 2 or 3 times a week. Because I love Jesus Christ as one of the best activists this world has ever had. And I go in there as if I was going to his grave. That is what I do. I don't believe in all the religion. I think religion is conquer, divide and conquer. No two ways about it. I talk to the Muslim community, I talk to the Jewish community, and I'm very close to the black community. And I mean very close.
Yeah.
I love them like they're my own.
Well, they say religion was put together by the rich so the poor people wouldn't kill them.
Well, it would make a lot of sense that it had been created to, like Bill's saying, to conquer and divide, because it actually does work. You've got, a group of people over here, and we're like, no, this is the way. We've got a group of people over here, like, no, this is the way. That is obviously going to cause conflict. That is going to cause, people to not agree, and they're easily segregated and controlled separately. And that doesn't mean to say that one of them ain't right. I tend to look at religious people like you believe, obviously it doesn't matter what religion you believe, you know what I mean, you're entitled to believe
of course,
whatever you want. That's your right. But I can't help thinking that it is the ultimate mind game.
Yeah.
I can't help thinking that, and that's just me as a real person. I know some people don't want to say things, but I think everything should be open to the debate, you know what I mean, so we can get a proper fix on, because I would just love to know. I sit there all the time.
Brian, you just look at it, right, the celibacy thing. You imagine, right, now we were young men, right, you still are reasonably young, you know what I mean?
Thanks, Bill.
Sorry, you can ask me about that one later. But it's like, I forgot where I was going. What was you just talking about?
I know, I do it all the time, mate. I do it all the time.
The celibacy.
So much
now, when you're young men, you've got to get rid of it somewhere. They're not meant to even do that.
Yeah, I know
What's
he's going in the Vatican.
You've got these guys walking around in strange clothing, and parents are handing their children over and saying, here you go on, here you go, get in there.
And the age of consent in the Vatican, they're all celibate, why have you got an age of consent?
It's got nothing to do with that, with messing about with kids. In fact, Jesus says, if anyone harms a child that is a friend of mine, he may as well put a millstone around his neck and fire him himself in the sea. So, and that is the church. And the church is saying, we don't care what you said about that.
Okay,
and then he said, and Jesus, all the things that he said, they don't adhere to. It will be easier for a rich man to pass through the eye of a camel, for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter my kingdom. Well, that's it. The Queen and her family, they're not going because they're all rich.
Well, you know, they did say the meek shall inherit the earth. Bill, Brian just wants to say something. Go ahead, Brian.
It's the simple things that open the doors for people. You know, we don't all have to sort of speak in the same sort of, the way David Icke can speak, or some of the other guys that are really intricate. We talk, I want to work with Brian because he talks to the people at ground level the same as us. And from our forthcoming films, and there's going to be a lot of them, you're going to see Brian on the street with me and without me.
Okay.
One thing I would say as well, and I mean, once again, this is just how my brain works. Maybe other people's don't, but don't you think it's a bit naive to think that a story that it wasn't even written 2,000 years ago, if we're talking about the Bible, I think it was 400 or 500 years after, somewhere else as well.
Yeah.
It'd be a little bit naive to think that someone, I mean, it's on record, they have changed it. You've got Old Testament, you've got New Testament. What are you saying? I think God meant to say this, or the fact that it's been changed, and the fact that it was so long ago, and none of our lifetimes go back that far to be able to prove anything. I think it would be naive to think that they haven't spun the past and edited it to suit their needs, and that once again, that's my opinion. And that's how my brain sees things, because I'm cynical about
God is going to cause destruction, like we're all going to burn in purgatory, we're born with a mortal sin, and God will burn the land, and God will cause pestilence and starvation and kill people. No. By writing that in there, it said for the New World Order, it's more or less saying that war is good. War is okay. God likes the war. God will destroy his enemies so we can all go to war against each other.
Yeah. Well, I don't get that. I mean, I'm not, you know, we have our own belief system.
Does that make sense? Did you hear that?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, God, you know, that's an argument in itself.
God wouldn't kill anything. That's the other fella. If you believe in God, you've got to believe in the other man, the devil.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, it's all kind of, to coin the phrase, arse about face. Because, basically, if God is supposed to be who he's supposed to be, all love and kindness and everything else, then why is he saying to people that you have to, you know, in one hand if they love him, but you have to fear him on the other side, and then you're sending people off to war to kill people? That doesn't make sense to me, but that's
too much of a mind game. It's too backwards and forwards. Like I say, things are getting edited to suit other people's needs.
Yeah.
And what you've got to think of is, you know, what I listen, I'm not a religious person, but I believe in God. Right, and I can sit here and say that I believe in God because there's been too many synchronicities happening in my life that have brought me to this point. And even sitting here now, like this is probably the first radio interview that I've done, and you know, sitting here talking about this stuff. But this has just got to be done, man. This has just got to be done. You know, we need to get as many people together on this cause as possible. We need to reach out as far and wide as possible and bring everyone in on this. Everyone needs to know the real information so you can make an informed decision on what you think about the world, because, you know, we can go into religion and everything all we like. It's a never-ending can of worms, that one. But I would just like to say I believe that religious people, I've got respect for them because they believe in their heart they're doing the right thing. So to me, something like that speaks volumes. Do you know what I mean?
Well, again, you have the situation where, you know, we have to try and wake people up, because people are very kind of conditioned. They have been for a very long time.
They have, and you know what it is? They really don't know. That is what the problem is. From what I'm seeing, I try and tell people about stuff, and they do. They look at you like you're mad, and so I see the programming. I see how their minds are fixed. But every now and then, you know, you can show someone something, and it's undeniable, and you can see them swaying. You can see them battling with themselves. You know, that can't be real. But I'm telling you, this world is completely sick. I'm sitting here thinking, what am I in?
Yeah.
I can't even believe it. Someone who's in E17 who used to go and make records is now sitting
there. A lot of survivors. Can I just say this, Al?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Bill.
You'll get a lot of survivors that are the same. They'll come out of the care system and they won't even think of their abuse. They'll come out of the care system, they won't even think about it. And then further on down the line, quite a way down the line, one day you'll stand in the street or something and think, I can't believe that. And it just hits you. It can hit you at all different ages. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, definitely. But listen, Bill, listen, we're just watching the time, and I know that, you know, we're going to let you go about 8:30, but there's a couple of questions here that I want Steve to ask you before you head off there. So, Steve, over to you there.
Okay, yeah, there's a lot of support on our chat room, and also I see a lot of support on the MSI one as well. For both Brian.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much.
Before I go into the questions, I wrote this down. I wanted to mention it because it sprung into my mind when you were talking earlier, Brian, about paedophilia. It's kind of being brought more into mainstream. And for anyone who if anybody out there says no, it's not, that's a load of BS. There's a cartoon show. It's an adult-orientated cartoon show. It's on, I think, most channels show. I think in the UK and Ireland, FX are showing it. It's called Family Guy. And anyone who hasn't seen Family Guy, check it out because there's a character on that series called Herbert. He's the local, they call him Herbert the pervert. He's the local paedophile. And if that's not trying to make paedophilia more mainstream, I don't know what is. But it's out there. Just check it out anyway.
What that is a desensitising tactic.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, totally. It's desensitizing.
Like I said, normalisation.
It's desensitising people. We've got a pornographic fashion on the street. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah, Bill. Tell us what we're going to keep Brian on for an extra 15 minutes, about 8:30, just to talk to Brian about the music business and stuff. But, so what we want to do is, I just want to kind of get a heads up on what your future plans are with you, Brian, Ben, and Pie and Mash Films, and what you're going to be working on, and, you know, all that bits and pieces.
Well, first of all, we're going to see Ben through this, because Ben's got, he's on a rough journey, he's had a rough journey, and Ben Fellows needs everyone's support. So I would implore all your listeners, Alan, to Google Ben Fellows, find out about him, and help support him in any... a kid who is really struggling, you know what I mean? So, and as far as I'm concerned, I've got some film coming out concerning Operation U-Tree and Operation Cambridge, which is very, very hot stuff. But the lie detector is essential because then once Ben's taken his lie detector test, all the accusations he's made against all the individuals will then be challenged to take a lie detector test themselves.
Definitely, and I think I definitely think you have to keep us posted on that anyway, and let us know when it's done, and then we can actually talk about it, and then send people over the link so they can see it. Are you going to film the actual lie detector test?
I am, yes.
All right, and you're going to put that up as soon as it's done.
Yeah, absolutely. But as I say, myself and Ben, and Ben's working with some other people as well. But I liaise with.
Oh, we lost you there, Bill. Oh, we lost Bill. Okay,
technical difficulty.
Technical difficulty there. We just lost Bill, Brian. He dropped off there. He might just ring back in there.
Yeah, no, it happens a lot. Like when I'm talking to him on the phone and that during the evening and that, the call drops at least 8 or 10 times. So I'm surprised he stayed on as long as it has, really.
Yeah, exactly. Because, I mean, again, it could be a network issue. You never know.
You never know, do you?
You never know. So what we're going to do is...
Put it on our credit as well. If it's a credit phone.
Yeah, exactly. But so Brian, you know, we what we're going to do is talk to you. We're going to carry on the interview with yourself, obviously, because what we said we want to do is get like a heads up on, you know, the music side, what you've been doing, and what you obviously plan to do as well. But I want you to have just mention the video that you did that Bill put up and what was involved there and why you got involved with Ben and Bill on that video.
Basically, it was Bill. Bill's a real guy, and we need people like that, you know. And myself, like that, I don't know how to do anything else. I can't live in two different worlds. You know what I mean? I can't be this PR person that's got to watch what they say. I can only live in one world. You know what I mean? I've been made like that. So trying to get me to, you know, be someone else clearly doesn't work, and I've ended up in the position that I'm in. But the thing is it feels right, and I wouldn't change it. But after watching Bill's video and that, I just felt compelled. I really did. I just thought, you know what, someone needs to help that man, because I've sat there in bits like that myself. You know, many, many times over the past 10 years, I've been in a very, very dark place that I honestly wouldn't wish on anyone. It's horrible, but good job for me. I've got a strong mind. I've also found out that I'm bipolar, so that makes up for a lot of the confusions in the past. Maybe people thought I was being a problem. You know, maybe I couldn't see it, but I was always about the cause. You know, if we was in the band, I was about the band. Yeah. One thing that I would never, ever, ever, ever try to do is try and jump on board, because I know there's going to be some people out there thinking that I would maybe jump on board, get some underground promotion for myself and try and come through in some cool, credible way, you know what I mean? So if people are thinking that, get that out of your mind. I'm not very hard to work out. I did end up in a successful band. I've seen how they work, how they earn their money, how they operate. I've seen the scam, how you end up as just a singing puppet, getting no publishing, no writing money, where the more serious money is, not being encouraged to do that, and being just rinsed out for 5 to 7 years. Don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change it. It's given me a lot of life experience, and even down to, you know, the ecstasy comment years and years ago. It was silly. I was only repeating what other people had said, although I was taking ecstasy on and off at the time. And it's a phase you go through, you know, as you're growing up and stuff that's about. I know there's a lot of people out there now, and it's come round again. There's people taking MDMA, and I'm sitting there now on the other side of the fence as someone that don't do that, thinking I can see where the cross wires are. Certain people just want to be free. They want to live their life. Other people are like, look, morally, you know, I don't agree with it. I don't think ecstasy should be legalised. I don't think people should be taking it. It is a phase that you go through. And I made the mistake of walking into a massive trap, you know. But listen, that was through my own doing. I did go on TV afterwards. I was the only one that ever did that, and I apologise to the Betts family, because if you lose someone, you know, that is, especially your daughter, man, that is the hardest thing ever. And I've got compassion for people, and I said sorry, and my sorry got used against me, but by a politician, which brings me nicely into John Major. Getting involved, you know, basically telling people, stop playing the records, we want to put this guy in prison for inciting people to take drugs and stuff like that. And I wasn't. I just spoke from experience. A guy asked me a question. I think the journalists need to take a little bit of responsibility on how they're allowed to put their stories across, because they've got the freedom of, you can ask me a question and I say yes, he's got the freedom to write that sentence however he wants to write it. And we know that they're trying to dramatise everything in order to sell papers, so that's what they do to you.
Let's explain that, Brian, for people who don't know. Let's explain, because there's a couple of questions here, and Steve has a few questions for you as well. But for people who don't know, what happened was you went on a TV show, and the presenter of the TV show asked you what you thought of.
It was a radio interview in the green room whilst at Top of the Pops in 1997. whilst we was doing a song called Hey Child, which was the last E17 record that we'd done together. It was the song that I didn't get called to the video shoot for, because I told the management what I thought of them and how they earned their money and how I disagree with it. I must have looked like a raving lunatic, because I was the only one in the room that stood up and done it, and I thought I had the backing of everyone else, but clearly I didn't at the time. I thought I was speaking on behalf of everyone, but I wasn't. I was speaking on behalf of myself, and because of that, I was a problem. They knew I was outspoken. They probably saw me as a loose cannon and thought, you know, this guy's got to go. And they got rid of me in the best way that they thought how, I'm suggesting, because, you know, it just served too many purposes for them. No one wanted to work with me again. I was only worth a joke or a story just to be laughed at. All right, Brian, got any pills and stuff like that? Like, you know, for other people, it must have been funny. But
and how did you? Obviously, you went out with Daniela Westbrook.
Yeah.
And so, how did you get introduced to the cocaine, and where did that kind of fit in with the showbiz side of things?
I'll tell you how that came about. My manager, Tom Watkins, gave me my first line of cocaine. Tom Watkins, music manager, yeah? He gave it to me. And I'll tell you what, right, I was in his office, in his house, and all the others were there. I've never seen cocaine in the flesh before. I don't know how old I was, probably 17. Yeah. And there's 4 lines racked out on the table. Yeah. And I'd never done it before, and I was like, right, what is that, cocaine? And it was like, yeah. And like, I think like the others had probably done it before here or there or whatever, and yeah, my first one was there, and I'd done it, and you know, you're talking I mean, I talk quite fast anyway, but I was talking even faster for 5 or 6 minutes and that, and then I just felt this, I just need to shut. I just want to go. I just want to go. It just didn't have a good effect on me. Yeah. I did do it on and off for a little while, although if you ask anyone that knows me personally, you know, they'll know I don't do cocaine. You know what I mean? I would still fully admit, like I've always done, I smoke cannabis. I would invite anyone out there to look into the medical properties of cannabis. Tetrahydrocannabidiol is THC. The medical properties are amazing. It is the most medicinal plant known to man on the planet. I would suggest that's why they've made it illegal in the first place, because it doesn't make any sense that you can go to the off licence and get as pissed as you like. And so it's obviously not a moral issue and not about you changing your state of mind, because you're allowed to do that. You're allowed to buy cigarettes, that's nicotine, that's still a drug, it's addictive, they know that. They keep putting the tax up on these things, so they're bleeding everyone for an addiction that they push out on everyone, as far as I'm concerned. And then if you get ill, you know, you've got to go to the doctor, and he's just there. He's just a drug dealer, that geezer. He's just sitting there for them, just waiting to push an antidepressant on you. And, you know, if you look into what they know about the brain, you know, serotonin levels, dopamine levels, the neurotransmitters, they've got no way of actually testing the serotonin levels in a brain. So when you go into the doctors and you're suicidal and you don't know what to do, and this guy gives you an antidepressant that 20 minutes after you take it, you feel drugged up round your eyes, you don't feel like you're getting a dry mouth, and you get told that if you can just put up with this for 3 months, this might be the pill for you. Well, I think that is an absolute joke. And if you look on the side effects of the pills, it says, may give you symptoms of suicide. And, mate, I've come to you suicidal, want to kill myself. You're going to give me a pill that's actually going to give me that symptom on top of what I've already got. Mm. It's a joke, mate, you know. Yeah. And I've sat there. I'm not going to say what doctor it is, but I actually sat there with a doctor, and I said to him, "This is all the front, isn't it, mate?" And he just sat there with his arms folded, didn't say anything, nodded his head in a yes, you know, like. Yeah. I said, down to the phone call, to the appointment that you make when you want to go and see a doctor, down to you sitting in the waiting room, to the walking in and actually getting seen, and then the treatment afterwards. This is just people making money out of illness, you know what I mean? I'm not saying that the doctors know that you know, the majority of them are probably there believing that they're helping lives and doing something good, and you know, they must get a good feeling from doing a life-saving operation. I shouldn't imagine that there's a better feeling in the world than doing that for someone.
Well, I tell you, Brian,
there's money being made and paedophilia taking place, and those two issues are the two problems that we face. Whoever you talk to, the first thing, you know, how you doing? You all right? Yeah, not too bad. Money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It always comes down to that, and I'm glad that I got stripped of everything that I had. I mean, I was driving about in a Ferrari. You know, I had a house, and I had it all. I weren't happy. You know, it was job done. It was game over. You know, what next? What now? I'm bored.
I think it's the illusion. What people don't understand. People who don't have money think that by having money they're going to be happy, and that's just an illusion. But
trust me, it's an illusion. I've been there.
Yeah.
Take it from me, please. Listen to what I'm saying. It is the biggest illusion that you're having played on you. You know, that world is absolute toot. It is full of nothing but weirdos, paedophiles, people that want to bleed you. You know, it's about money. It is a completely moralist.
It's a superficial
it's
world
the
that you
worst.
live in.
And you know what? Then they go and put things on TV like The Only Way is Essex and stuff.
Yeah.
And people that, I'm sorry, man, but the conversation ain't happening. You ain't seeing anyone in The Only Way is Essex or EastEnders ask one of the old people to offer their oath. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You ain't gonna see that. You ain't going to see that.
Well, listen, we have a couple of questions for you, Brian, because we're watching the time here. So, Steve, over to you with the questions there.
Okay, there's a couple of comments first. I want to get the comments out of the way. Sentiment says, Brian has done his homework big time. Great to hear.
Thank you.
So, you have another fan there.
Thanks for your support. Thank you.
What does Crown Copyright says? He used to see Brian in East London whizzing about. That's obviously in the Ferrari.
Yeah.
Fishnuts says Stewart Hall's lawyer said the age of consent should be lowered to reduce the amount of paedophiles.
Oh,
please!
Oh, mate. That's exactly what they want to do. Should they do that in the Vatican City? Yeah. They reduced the age in the Vatican City to the age of 14.
They put it up. Wasn't it 12? Wasn't it 12?
Yeah, it was 12.
I heard it was 12.
Oh, okay.
And they put it up to 14. And now I'm hearing that they want to get rid of the age of consent altogether. But if those people are celibate, what's the age of consent there all about anyway? Why is that even sort of... not saying get rid of it, I'm saying... you know, why is that even an issue for a place where it should be total celibacy? Does that make any sense?
Well, exactly. Why did he have a law there that, you know...
I think we all know, really, don't we?
I think
really, we all know, but no one can really come out of it proper in threat of being sued. So it's a threat to stop you from saying what is naturally on your mind, and I don't agree with that. I think life's short enough. I think we need to say what we think.
Well, it has come out over here, Brian, because you know that we had the Ryan report, and a lot of the churches have been exposed. A lot of the priests in the churches over here in Ireland and globally, but in Ireland especially, being such a Catholic country, that they priests have been exposed of what they've been doing, the abuse that's been going on.
And wouldn't you say, the question that runs through my mind now is, if these people are as far as we're concerned, they're supposed to be, the middleman to God. Yeah, now if these people that are doing these things, that are in the positions of power in the churches, actually believed in the story that they're telling us, would they be doing what they're doing?
Exactly. This is why people who, attend church, need to ask themselves these questions. They need to ask themselves the questions. I mean, I can't understand. Now, this is just my own opinion, and my own opinion. But with all the abuse that has gone on in the church, how can people still go to Mass knowing that organisation has been abusing kids?
I think that some people don't want to believe it because it seems like such an unbelievable thing, doesn't it? It's like, no, that can't be happening. They wouldn't do something like that. There's still a lot of that attitude about, but that's where people like us come in, hopefully, that we can talk enough sense that people can... maybe hear about these things, start having a look into the other evidence where, you've only got to type in a couple of sentences on Google, and while the information is still about, people need to have a look, because the world isn't what they think it is. It is not. This country although it should still be a common law jurisdiction, I don't feel like it is. Going back to Ben Fellows outside Parliament when we was there, I mean, if you have a look at that video, if I was to at any point turn round and punch someone, I'd have been arrested on the spot. But Ben Fellows can stand in their face and tell him that an MP has abused him. Personally, I'm swinging towards believing him, although I want to see the outcome of the lie detector test, because I think that is going to be key to everything.
Yeah,
you know, it's good enough for the Jeremy Kyle show. That means it's good enough for the public. Yeah. They're having it. Apparently they are 98% accurate. That's what I'm hearing.
But,
you know?
It's inadmissible in court.
Inadmissible in court. But I think one day, see, it sort of works for you and against you, and it will come down to later on in life. Well, if you ain't doing nothing wrong, you ain't got nothing to worry about. But that sounds terrible, doesn't it?
It does,
it's like,
indeed, yeah.
you know, we're going to watch it, but I don't mean it like that. You know what I'm saying? I think we need some morality restored back into society, and that means real people standing up and just saying the real deal and telling people what the facts are, so they can know what the facts are, and you can make an informed decision on how you want to live your life. Because personally, I feel like we've got some changes coming, and we need to make some changes, because, you know, we're not doing a good job out there at the minute. At the moment, it's about how much stuff can you accumulate, how much more money have you got than someone else, you know, and now we can see that it gets much worse than that with institutionalised paedophilia and, you know, with MPs. I mean, we've heard about it for years, backwards and forwards, but I think we're coming close to a time where some things are going to get exposed, and as a country and your country also, you know, we need to stick together. We need to see through the programming of, you know, you're a Muslim, you're a Jew, you're a Christian. We're all people. We're all people. That's what we are.
Yeah.
And
I always say we are spiritual beings experiencing life in physical form.
I think you may be right. There's a lot of stuff that people don't know. Like, people think they're still seeing out of their eyes. They're not. Their eyes are taking in light information, hitting the retina, going to the back of the brain, and it's being decoded in your skull in complete darkness. Your brain has never seen daylight.
Yeah.
So once you get your head round that, and also how much one little pill can affect what you see, it changes everything. It's real to you at the time. You know, the brain is a powerful thing, but I agree with you in the spiritual sense of, I personally think the law of attraction is something to be more spoken about, because it seems that you are in control, and you're kind of taken off the path. But I've sat here for the past 10 years, and what I thought about has come into my life, you know, and the synchronicity of it is really strange. I don't mind telling you about that, and I'm pretty sure you get your own occurrences like that, and things come up. You know, it just feels like this is the right thing to be doing. And,
well, that's good. Well, listen, Brian, we have a few quick-fire questions for you, because we're getting on with the time, and I want to get these questions in. But if we can just kind of, if you can give us
you want a quick answer? I know what you're going to say.
Quick answer, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with that.
But if you can, Steve, if you have a few questions,
I
there
certainly
for Brian.
do. Well, again, there's a couple of comments as well. Darren Cox, very, very well said. Brian, you are wide awake, mate. Crown Copyright. This is a question. I haven't heard about this. So
who is this? Who's Crown Copyright?
Oh, we have a chat facility here, and you can log in and use whatever name that you want. And,
okay.
And they choose to pick a certain whatever name they want to choose.
That's all right. I thought the crown was on me already.
Maybe they are.
Yeah.
No, then again, maybe Crown Copyright is his or her real name. No, you can log into the chat box and chat room, and people can use real names or a pseudonym. And Crown Copyright, he's been with us for a long time. He's one of the good guys. But he's wondering anyway, how did you get on with the removal of the electricity meter?
The electricity meter is still up. Basically, what I let them do was they came back and they done the gas as well. Now, the bottom line is they came in my house. The guy knocked on my door about 5 or 6 times, right? And I've said to him, because I've split up with the band again, and I've said to him, I might be interested, mate. Like, let me think about it. The guy was quite persistent. He did come back 5 or 6 times. The last time he came back was on my birthday, August the 8th, in 2009. I opened the door to him. I've had a couple of beers, you know what I mean? I had a mate in my house and that as well. So I let him in. He came in and he sat down on the sofa. And he started to explain to me how I'm paying 7% and I could be paying 4%. I didn't ask him 4% of what. I just thought, sounds good to me. I'm going to be poor for a bit, so you know, anything cheaper in my life is going to help. So I was under the intention of maybe, right? So he started filling the format and that, and I've been walked into it a little bit because he's quite persistent, and I think the fact that he's not 5 or 6 times showed that. He's gone out into the passage, looked at the meter, wrote down the number on it. Didn't think anything of it at the time. Sat down, asked me my name, started filling out the thing, and basically he's filled it out round the wrong way. In the printed part of it, it should have said Brian Harvey, and it said Harvey Brian. I started getting bills through to Mr. H. Harvey, to Mr. H. Brian first of all. I did try and contact them and tell them what they've done. At the same time, trying to steer away from getting into a legally binding contract with them. Do you know what I'm saying? Because that's why when banks ring you up, they say, can you confirm you know, they want you to represent the legal fiction. So I was looking for that one anyway when I spoke to them on the phone. I did not want to be representing anything, because then you'll just change it, send me the bill, and actually I want to stay with British Gas. This has never been a ploy about, you know, I'm going to scam some electric and all that. If I wanted to do that, I'll stick one of them things in and bleed electric for nothing, you know what I mean? But I'm not like that. So anyway, they came back a little while after and done the gas as well. So all through that cold winter that we had, I had no heating. Wow. But it's all right.
You're okay.
Just made me angry, that's all.
Okay. Next question, Steve, quickly there.
Okay.
I'll try and be quicker on the next one.
No problem, Brian.
Steve Hope writes, he was born in the UK, lads. Would you ask your guests, well, obviously it's just our guest now because we've lost Bill, but would you ask your guests if they have a view on what makes the Bavarians squatting in Windsor Castle better than the rest of the population?
Yeah, that's a deep. But yeah, I understand what you're saying. Bavarian Illuminati. Personally, I think this is something. My view, once again, is what I'm saying. I think this possibly goes back to somewhere like Egypt. I think the laws and stuff that we're living at now, I think maybe they was in place from back then. I think maybe the same bloodline or the same kind of a few ruling families, if you like, have always ruled since probably back then, and it's nothing new, and it's just the way that I think that it's always been. But if he's asking what's more special about them than someone normal, I would like to see someone normal take it over. I would like to see someone that speaks the truth, that they're real, they put their neck on the line, and they don't just feed you media spin. And you know, that's what I'd like to see. I'm not going to claim to know loads and loads. I do know some stuff that I would like to repeat about the rules. I've got some questions that I would like answered. There is one question, right? There is one question that I would like answered. Yeah. One question, and that is Jack Straw, the Home Secretary. Yeah. Right. Is it right what I'm hearing that his brother was on the sex offenders register in 2005?
Allegedly, that's what they say. Yeah.
Allegedly, okay. And then was it right that in 2006 he passed a law, whereas anyone that is in care in the UK, i.e. children's homes, passed a law preventing them to speak out and made it illegal if they felt they was being abused. Is that right?
Apparently that's right also, yeah.
Right, well, I think I'm going to end this interview there. I think that's it. I think, what more can you say to that? What good can come from that law?
Exactly. Well, why did they do that in the first place? You have to ask
exactly.
yourself there,
and I can find no sentence that matches it, apart from it helps them cover up doing exactly what they're doing.
Exactly. And people have to ask that question. They have to say, why would the politician come out with a law like that will actually affect witnesses and children who are being abused coming forward?
Yeah.
They have to, that's a serious law.
It's like I said, it's the worst crime in the world, and I fully support Pie and Mash Films for what they're doing. I've met Bill now, and I didn't need to meet him to know he was a good bloke. He's He's passionate about it. Like I say, he's got a right to be doing what he's doing. He's lost family to this stuff. And I fully support him, and will help him get the information out there as much as I can. I would also like to just put on record, and this would be the first time that I've said this, because I've spoken a lot in interviews about how what happened to me made me suicidal and stuff, and it did. But I'd just like to make it clear here now on record that I'm not suicidal. I will never be suicidal again. I know exactly what's going on, and I will do everything that I can as someone that has got out to the public before. I will use that to get the information about as much as possible. I am not in this for any personal benefit, and you will see that. Yes, I have got a new band, but I don't even want to talk about it because it's not something that goes hand in hand with what we've been talking about. You know, later on you'll see. I don't expect to get anywhere with the music, but that doesn't mean to say that I'm going to stop making it, because I like it, and it serves a spiritual purpose to me. It's got me through a lot of hard times, and I'm going to continue to do it. Whether you'll see me in the charts or anything like that, I doubt it. I doubt it very much.
We did say to you, remember we talked earlier, Brian, and I said, look, you know, this is a new side to Brian Harvey, and there's a lot of bands out there in the alternative media who are actually have their music, and they're getting known through the alternative media. So there's no reason why, if you're a new band...
I'm just not trying to do that, man. I'm really not. I mean what I'm saying. Like music needs to come second. You know what I mean? I've been given a voice, and if I can use that to do some good, that is, I'm sorry, but that's all I care about now. Yeah. And if people don't believe that, that's fine. That's fine also. And I just want to put on record that there's no way that if I ever go missing, ring alarm bells. Yeah, because I'm not about to do anything stupid. I've got a daughter. She's 15. And there's no way on this planet that I would ever leave her like that. There's no way. And you've heard that from me to you. So you know, you can hear. You know, I know what they do. Oh, Brian Harvey committed suicide. He was found hanging or some rubbish like that. And you know, his career was going downhill very much over the past 10, 15 years or whatever. He was in a bad place. Bye. No. That's not going to happen, mate. That is not going to happen. And that will never happen. And you heard that directly from me.
Brilliant.
And you can quote me on that.
Brilliant. Well, that's great to know. Okay, Brian, we're going to have to leave it there. Thanks a lot for coming on the show.
It's been a pleasure.
Okay, Steve's just said he has two very, very quick questions.
They're not even questions. There's just a couple of comments here. There's other questions, but they were actually directed at Bill, so they will probably take too long to answer. So I'm not even going to go there, and I'm going to apologise to the people who asked them. Crown Copyright wants a solo Part 2 interview with Brian, so we'll obviously see if we can arrange that. So that means Crown Copyright wants you on the show for 2 hours, uninterrupted, no one else.
Thanks, Crown Copyright. Thanks for your support, mate. Thank you.
Mumsy said, ring me in 2 weeks. I got a party if you want to chat. LOL.
Oh, bless her. That's Brenda who was on the video and that. Yeah. Lovely woman. And lovely. Really clued up as well. She knows what she's talking about, you know, like... When we was there, then police were talking back to her and that, and they was just treating her more like, oh, lovely old girl. She is very astute, mate. She knows exactly what she's talking about.
So I say to people, check out the video. Yes, Steve, one more day.
The last thing on the agenda, the list, UK Prepper says, I think you'll find that Philip Schofield was abused on his way to the top, but won't say anything till he falls from grace if he ever does. I'm not sure why UK Prepper thinks that, but maybe.
Okay, I like Philip Schofield. I like him. I think he's got a nice way about him. I'd be very upset, man, to hear some horrible stories about him. If he was the victim, mate, then boy, I'd speak up for him if he was a victim.
Yeah. Okay, well listen, Brian, we're going to Steve.
Sorry, I just had to say this. Agent, one of our long-time listeners as well. He works in Walthamstow.
That's where I live.
Yeah, he wants to bump into you sometimes and buy you breakfast.
Brilliant.
Oh, mate, yeah, love to. I love a breakfast. I'm eating down the cafe down the front next to the chip shop.
Okay, so let's go to a piece of music, Brian. Again,
it's not a joke. I do like a breakfast out there. It is the best cafe in the world, actually.
No, super. Well, listen, Brian, thanks a lot for coming on the show. It's been fantastic. I'm glad you could get on. Sorry that Bill got cut off, but we really got good time with Bill. Maybe the next time, if Bill gets down to your place and we can get them on Skype or something like that,
Yeah, definitely.
But definitely.
And also, I'd just like to say one more time, please, everyone that's out there listening, check out Pie and Mash Films. Have a look at the video that we've done and what we're trying to do. Google Ben Fellows. Obviously, the next phase of this now is to go to the lie detector test. We've faced a few problems with that, but we're going to get through that. And once we've got the lie detector test, the footage will be going up, and we'll be doing all we can to make everyone see the information, so we can get a fair trial and stuff, and we can start opening things up. And getting things back to how they should be, because at the minute I feel like I'm being bossed about by a load of pedos. Sorry.
That's okay, no problem. Okay, we're just going to go off to a musical break. Thanks, Brian. And
Thanks
Brian, stay with us there for a minute. We'll just go off to a bit of music. We'll be back after this.
Okay, we're cutting that music there because someone said his sentence. We really do like 80s music, don't we, chaps? Yes, we do. You can't beat a bit of 80s music. That was Lips Incorporated, Funky Town. I think that was actually 70s. That wasn't.
I think it was 70s. But Ray said it's 70s there. All right, guys, we've 5 minutes left. Just a couple of things we want to catch up on. Next week we have Deborah Tavares on. Now, Deborah, I don't know whether you've seen the video on YouTube, but it went viral with all the things that the Global Elite are planning to do and rolling out now. And I had a chat with Deborah, and Deborah is coming on next week. She's a lady in big demand. Loads of people want her. But lucky enough, I have a secret channel into where Deborah is. And Deborah has agreed to come on the show. So we're going to organise that. That's organised for next week. And if you haven't seen the video, go to YouTube and type in Deborah Tavares, Taraves. And it's all about Iron Mountain and what they're planning to do. And it went around viral. A lot of people were looking at it. Very interesting information. So Deborah's going to be on next week. Just one or two things what we talked about earlier in the show. If you've only just tuned in, when the podcast is up there, listen to the car scam. Very interesting. And, I was scammed, basically. And it's put me in a bit of a situation. But there you go. That's life. You live and learn. And I learned from that. And also John Irwin about the embassy ambassadors leaving certain countries in the Middle East because he reckons there's a war coming, and that's why they're leaving the embassies. So again, something to check out as well. But have you gotten planned for the week, Steve?
Not so far. I'm back to work on Tuesday, so I'm just gonna take the week as it comes, because anyone who's here will know that we do have a public holiday tomorrow. Some people call it a bank holiday. I think the banks have a holiday every day. I do want to apologise actually for the questions that I didn't get to ask, and that was to Rich of Fields from the MSI chat room. There was a good question you had there in relation to a death of a child in Birmingham due to neglect. I do apologise. It is on the list here in front of me. I didn't get to ask Bill, and as you are aware, we did kind of lose Bill towards the end. And I want to apologise also to Harry Brown for the question in relation to the gang stalking perpetrators. Again, that was one for Bill, and obviously we lost Bill, so all we can do is apologise. It was obviously nothing to do with our technology here. I'm guessing maybe Bill had an issue with his phone. So maybe if we haven't, not maybe, but when we have Bill on again, I'm sure we will get to ask those questions.
Yeah, we will get Bill on again. It's just tricky with communications at the moment with Bill. And we were lucky that we had him on as long as we did, because as Brian said, his mobile tends to go off more often than that. So we're lucky that we got as long as we did out of the mobile phone, which is pretty good. But I did text Bill anyway and told him thanks for coming on the show. Pie and Mash Films is where you're going to find out all this information. Plus, if you Google Ben Fellows on YouTube as well, you'll find all that information there,
Good on site.
Well, I was on site. I still have that cough is still hanging on, but it's not as bad as it was. Hopefully it's going to go. Yeah, for some reason it's hanging on. I don't know.
Are you still taking the MMS?
I'm actually taking it sporadically.
So that's a no.
Well, I'll tell you what I've been doing. I've been looking. I've got some water which has a pH balance of 7.8, and the plan is to put some bicarb in it just to boost the actual alkaline, and then just put some orange in just to actually put a taste on it.
Oh yeah, because we know what you're like with things that you don't like to taste of.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And then that's what I'm going to have. So I'm alkalizing my body at the moment.
Because your body is your temple.
It is my temple. It's nobody else's, just mine.
Yeah.
Okay, listen, thanks a lot for everybody tuning into the show. It's much appreciated. What can we say? Just, take it easy. Have a good bank holiday weekend if you're actually in Ireland. And we will aim to get the podcast up pretty quick after the show. So from myself and Steve, well, myself anyway, Alan James, take it easy, be safe, and we'll talk to you next week. Oh, by the way, before we go, the United We Strike Radio Marathon is on next Tuesday. Starts at not next Tuesday. I'm getting next Saturday. It starts at 1 o'clock, I believe, GMT. 1 o'clock, I think, GMT. UnitedWeStrike.com is the website there, and you'll get loads of guests on that show. All right, good night from me anyway.
Thanks for that. Okay, and we'll do it all again in 7 days. Thanks for everyone who joined in the chat room tonight for all your comments and questions. Very much appreciated. And look forward to next Sunday, 7 to 9, OYM Radio. For myself, Stephen George, a very good evening. Take care. Good night.
Open your mind.